of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not.
President Biden, he's expected to announce a decision about canceling some student loan debt.
Am I going to get my money back? Of course not.
I didn't shut down anything.
The Biden administration is expected to announce canceling a bunch of money of student loan debt in the least progressive thing progressives have ever done. Dr. Fauci claims that he did not shut anything down. Gift card debt. Debt? Is that the right word? No, it's not. How much money do you have on gift cards just lying around the house? All that and more coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker, completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is August 24th, the year of our Lord 2022, and the Biden administration has not officially yet announced, but for the last 3 days has been like, we're going to announce our decision on student loan debts. I don't know who I was imitating there. I'm not sure who in the White House sounds like that, but somebody probably does. We'll talk about all of that and why it's the least progressive thing the progressives have ever done. I will warn you, if you've heard me ranting about student loan debt for the last, several months, this might be a little bit of a reiteration, a redoing of that course. But for now, here we go. We're just going to get right on into it. The Biden administration expected today, let me first let's first figure out what's going on together. This is from the Today Show, I believe, talking about student loan debt forgiveness. Here's what's happening. Then we'll go through a litany of reasons of why it's wrong, illegal, not possible, unworkable, unfair, a lot of those things. Watch this. This is from the Today Show.
Kristen, let's talk about that other big story. President Biden, he's expected to announce a decision about canceling some student loan debt. I know a lot of people are watching this one closely.
Hoda, this is significant. That is right. Multiple sources tell NBC News President Biden is expected to announce today that he will extend a pause on student loan payments until January. And his administration will forgive $10,000 in debt for those earning less than $125,000 a year. That's the expectation. We'll have to see what he says. But Mr. Biden is getting some pushback. The president of the NAACP saying on Tuesday forgiving $10,000 just doesn't go far enough to help borrowers of color, calling it a problem. And even the Senate's top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, has called for Mr. Biden to go further, pushing for him to forgive $50,000 in debt. But on the other side of this, Hoda, some economists have warned that the move could actually add to inflation, and Republicans have called it a handout to the rich, arguing it would mostly help high-income graduates. The bottom line here, though, all sides are going to be watching today's announcement very closely, Hoda.
Indeed. All right, Kristen Welker for us there at the White House. Kristen, thank you.
Okay, did anybody catch that? Did anybody catch that in that clip there? She said, well, there are people that are pushing back on this, saying that this is nowhere near high enough. And that took the majority of the segment. Then the other segment was, well, economists say that this is not going to, okay, what about the hundreds of millions of Americans who didn't go to college who are thinking, I don't want to have to pay for some rich snooty kid who has some loans taken out, who's making more money than me statistically, for him to go to college, or her to go to college, or they to go to college, whatever it is. Did you notice how none of that segment presented the point of view of all of the people out there who either paid off their student loans or didn't go to college in the first place, which is 2/3 of the United States population? There was no representation for them saying, hey, maybe this is just unfair. Again, I know I sound like a broken record because we've been talking about this for so freaking long. This next clip I want to play is a poll from the entirety of the United States, basically saying a majority of Americans think that this is going to worsen inflation, which it will. Check this out. Watch this. Oh, also, by the way, there's a couple thousand of you watching. I would really, really appreciate it, especially if you're watching on Facebook. Click the little like or the reaction button. Does this make you exceedingly angry or sad, or does it make you laugh for some reason? Would really appreciate you doing that. Engaging with the post in any way, shape, or form. Just letting us know in the comment section or clicking the share button. Anyways, here's a poll from, I believe, CNBC talking about how Americans think that this will affect the economy. Check this out.
But a new CNBC poll finds that many worry that canceling student debt could have some unintended consequences. A majority of Americans, 59%, are concerned loan forgiveness will make inflation worse. That's according to a new survey by CNBC and Momentive. The concern is that borrowers would have more money to spend, driving up demand, driving up inflation.
You know why that's a concern among a majority of Americans? Because it's going to happen. Look, the deadline for paying student loans or ending the pause is at the end of August. The Biden administration, what they're expected to do, they just updated. They're expected to cancel up to $10,000 for non-Pell borrowers, limited to people earning $125,000 a year or families earning less than $250,000 a year. And the payment pause will be extended through December 31st, meaning that people are going to have more money. Now, maybe you don't want to pay your student loans back. Maybe that's a thing that you want to do. I don't know. I don't know your life or whatever it is. But let's all be cognizant of the fact that if people are forced to pay back the debt that they owe, that will help inflation because they'll have less money to spend elsewhere. And unfortunately, the only way to kill inflation is to make spending money so difficult or make people so scared that they stop doing it. I want to get to this now because all of this hinges on the fact that can the president even do this? Well, we have someone to answer that question for you, and she's probably somewhat of an unlikely participant in the side of no, he can't. Watch this clip. Again, if you haven't already, I would appreciate clicking the like button, the little share button really, really helps us out. But this unlikely ally to the show, one Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Check this out.
People think that the President of the United States, is this more on the subject than you ever want to know? Well, you'll let me know. People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Oh, okay. So Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, says that no, the president does not have the power of the purse. I wonder why she said that. Oh, because he doesn't. This is not something that he's allowed to do. Charles C. Cook of the National Review or Washington Examiner, sorry, dude, tweeted this. It is indefensible in every conceivable way. It's illegal. It's immoral. It's arbitrary. It makes inflation, the biggest issue we currently face, worse. It sends other people's cash to the group of the lowest unemployment rate and the brightest prospects. Remember the statistics that we listed last week, 2 weeks ago? The top 40% of income earners own 60% of student debt. The bottom 40% of income earners, the bottom 2/5 of income earners owe about 20% of the student debt. So bottom line here is anybody who's getting debt relief is among the top earners in the country. That's just the statistics. That's just how it is. And on top of that, the 3% of Americans, all Americans, there are 3% that hold professional or doctorate degrees. Of those 3% of population people, who statistically make the most money, own 20% of the student loans. 3% of Americans own 20% of the student loans, and they statistically make way more money than you do. So, the fairness component, how does that factor in here? Also, I want to play this Joe Biden clip. But before I get to that, let me see. Oh, shoot. Nope. Yeah, I want to play this Joe Biden clip first, and then we'll get into what Liz Warren said a couple years ago when she was running for president. Check this out. Joe Biden at a town hall being asked, hey, what are you going to do to stop student loan debt? His answer might surprise you, especially in the light of what he's expected to announce today. Check this out.
We need student loan forgiveness beyond the potential $10,000 your administration has proposed. We need at least a $50,000 minimum. What will you do to make that happen?
I will not make that happen. It depends on whether or not you go to a private university or a public university. It depends on the idea that I say to a community, I'm going to forgive the debt, the billions of dollars of debt for people who have gone to Harvard and Yale and Penn and schools, my children. I went to a great school. I went to a state school. But is that going to be forgiven rather than use that money to provide for early education for young children who come from disadvantaged circumstances? But here's what I think. I think everyone, and I've been proposing this for 4 years, everyone should be able to go to community college for free. For free. That costs $9 billion.
Okay, so let that run on a little bit too long. But Joe Biden basically said, yeah, I'm not going to do any of that. Now, at the time, there was a $10,000 proposed thing, which is what he's expected to do now. But he said, yeah, I don't want to do that. I shouldn't. We shouldn't do that. That's not, that people should be able to pay their debts and all that sort of stuff. The bill, this means Americans may be footing a nearly $300 billion bill if Biden goes through with the reported plan, plus extends the repayments pause into next year, again, causing more inflation. Now, the obvious component here, the obvious question that we all would have, I tweeted this yesterday sarcastically saying I'm super excited to get my $10,000 reimbursement check from the government as I have paid off all of my student loans. I have a friend who very recently, he just, I think like 2 months ago, finished paying off all of his student debt. So where's that? Is that going to be repaid? Well, a father in Massachusetts, I believe, I'm not entirely sure. Actually, this might have been in Texas, asked then presidential candidate, current Senator Elizabeth Warren, hey, I responsibly saved my money throughout the years. My daughter does not have any student loan debt. Am I going to get any of that money back? Because there's lots of my friends who took out loans who make more money than me, that got boats and cars and new houses. I didn't. I saved responsibly. Am I going to get any of that money back? You'll be shocked at what the senator said. This is a little bit difficult to hear. So yeah, that's why I was kind of explaining what exactly it is. This is again unbelievable that this is the reaction that your Harvard elite fake Indian Elizabeth Warren, senator, said. Before I play this, if you haven't already, would really appreciate you clicking the little like button, the little share button, or letting us know in the comment section. Did you pay off your student loans? Do you think that other people who signed on the dotted line and made a promise to pay those loans back should also have to do so? Or do you think it should be forgiven from the Biden administration, which they can't legally do, by the way? All right, without further ado, check this Elizabeth Warren clip out. Again, it's difficult to hear, but you understand the gist of it. Watch this.
I was hoping to teach a question. Yeah. I'm on here and I'm having heartburn. Yep. Hello here.
I just want to ask one question. My daughter's getting out of school. I saved all my money. She doesn't have any student loans. Am I going to get my money back? Of course not. So you're going to pay for people who didn't save any money, and those of us that did the right thing get screwed.
No, it's not even got screwed. When we started,
of course we did. My buddy had fun, bought a car, went on vacations. I saved my money. He made more than I did, but I worked a double shift, worked extra. My daughter's worksheet is 10. So you're laughing. Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. We did the right thing, and we get screwed.
I appreciate it.
That's all right.
Go right ahead.
So thankfully there was a microphone on that guy where we could catch him. But he basically, if you didn't hear it, it was difficult to hear. He basically said, I've paid off my daughter's student loan. I saved my money. My friend went on vacation, bought cars, bought nice stuff, didn't save his money, and he's going to get forgiven for his daughter's or son's student loans. Let us know in the comment section what you think. Greg says, paid all my loans off, all of them. Vicky says they should pay. Mark says, I paid mine off. Yeah, so do you think it's fair if you paid off your loans that other people are going to get that money that you're going to have to pay for free? There's a lot of people commenting here that I'd like to bring on, but I can't because you drop F-bombs. Tyler says, I want my effing $10,000 check. Yeah, I agree with you. I would love that too. So one thing that I feel like is being entirely missed, that is always entirely missed in the student debt / student loan crisis conversation that I've been bringing up constantly is none of this. Let's just say hypothetically the Biden administration forgives everything and pays for college, yada, 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 all of that. I think that would be a terrible idea. It would bankrupt the country and have no incentive for people to work hard or be able to pay off student loans. But even if that happened, let's just say hypothetically that happened, none of this addresses the root issue as to why college is so expensive in the first place. A lot of you that are in the comment section, I would believe, might be a little bit older than I am and went to school when it was easier to pay it off. My parents both were able to pay their college. My dad worked summers and was able to pay for USC, which is a historically very expensive school. That being said, there is a substantial increase in the cost of colleges and the cost of university and the cost of higher education. Has anybody ever thought of why that is? Well, I'll tell you, around the 90s, in the Clinton administration / the early Bush administration, there was a big push to make college more accessible because generally speaking, if you have a college degree, you make more money. Now, that being said, the idea was the federal government was going to back loans for people who decided to go to college and therefore basically make those loans accessible to everyone. The bottom line is, in the 90s-ish, the federal government said, hey, anybody can take out any amount of loans in order to go to school because we want to promote more people going to college and getting a higher education. The idea sounded good, but if you are a university, especially a private institution, and all of a sudden all of your customers have access to unlimited money, what do you think happens? Well, those universities and private institutions of higher education and even state education institutions said, well, we're going to jack the price up. If our customers, the students, have access to unlimited funds, why would we keep our prices lower? Let's just build big, expansive student housing or sports facilities or libraries or whatever the heck it is that we want to build, and we'll just jack up tuition. Nobody, for some reason, in any of this student loan cancellation fee crap talks about why student loans have gotten so ridiculous and tuition costs have gotten so extensive. Nobody wants to talk about that. I have no idea why. But that is a huge component in all of this. And even if the Biden administration were to completely eliminate all student loans, we would still have the problem of college being too expensive because everybody can have access to it, and it's federally backed. And I'm not saying that I want to take away access from people, but understand the consequences of the decision of trying to get more people to go to college and making things more accessible, basically to an unlimited amount. Colleges are exactly going to exacerbate the price. I feel like I lost a bunch of people on that rant. That's okay. I don't mind. We'll keep people up to date on this story. The Biden administration is expected to announce things today, but that's the bottom line. Canceling student debt. You know what? How about, hold on. Should we try this? Let's try this one. Let's all together try this. Let me know in the comment section if you can sympathize or empathize with this statement. Paying back student loans from the government. Let me rephrase this. The federal government canceling student loan debt is racist. Forgiving student loans from the federal government is a white supremacist value. I feel like that should work. I feel like they call everything racist and everything a value of white supremacy, and therefore it gets shut down. Maybe if we call the government canceling student debt racist, they'll stop. I doubt it. I doubt it. All right, I want to get to this. I'll stop rambling about student loan debt because I want to get to one of the most ridiculous things I think I've ever heard. You are never going to believe what Dr. Fauci said on Neil Cavuto's show yesterday. Neil Cavuto, host of a Fox show that Fauci decided to be on just a couple days after he announced his retirement, actually a day after he announced his retirement. Again, you are not going to believe what he said. I'm going to play this right now. Here, watch this. Actually, first of all, if you haven't already, click the little like button. Again, really appreciate you doing so. And the little share button. Really, really appreciate you doing that as well. Or engage with the post in any way, shape, or form. What do you think about student loan debts? Also, what do you think about Dr. Fauci? Especially, I have some thoughts on what, well, I would love to see if you have some thoughts on what he says right here. Check this out, and we'll discuss on the other side. Maybe we'll see if we can get some comments on the screen here. Check it out.
You had said a number of times, Doctor, on this show as well, that your response to COVID might not have been perfect, but it was in the times and the fast moments in which you lived and were making those decisions. So looking back at some of those decisions, including masks, you were first opposed to them, then you embraced them, the severity of the epidemic itself and completely shutting down virtually the entire American economy. Do you regret particularly the last one, the shutdown, the sweeping shutdown that some said made things worse?
No, I don't, Neil. And in fact, I think we need to make sure that your listeners understand I didn't shut down anything. There was a lot of consideration among the White House task force that we were reaching a point where the hospitals, such as in New York City and other places, were being strained to the point of practically being overwhelmed. And when Dr. Birx and I came with the proposal that we take 15 days to essentially get to the point where we slow, if not shut some things down, not completely, and the record will show, Neil, that we didn't recommend shutting everything down. We wanted to cause a pause, to remember the terminology, to flatten the curve.
But in retrospect, Doctor, do you regret that it went too far? Whatever your original intentions were, and it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback here, but that it went too far, that particularly for kids who couldn't go to school except remotely, that it's forever damaged them.
Well, I don't think it's forever irreparably damaged anyone, but I think obviously, and if you go back and people selectively, Neil, pull things out about me. I was also one of the people that said we've got to do everything we can to get the children back in school. Go back to some of the clips that you and I had on your own show when I've said that it's very important that we protect the children from the collateral effects of keeping them out of school. Go to the record. I have said that so many times.
So if we had something, God forbid, like this again, Doctor,
So Dr. Fauci said, I didn't shut anything down. That's the biggest thing that I want. I wanted to play that whole thing just because I thought it was interesting in the conversation that they were having there. Dr. Fauci, I don't know if he is flat out lying or actually believes the thing that he's saying. Well, I didn't shut anything down. I just recommended it to the President of the United States several times and over and over and over again. And I also happen to have a mental illness that makes me super afraid of a disease constantly and never-endingly. So there's that. I hate to get back to this, but breaking news happening literally right now, just a couple minutes ago, back to the student debt thing. The President of the United States has officially announced it in keeping with my campaign promise. That's not true. My administration is announcing a plan to give working middle-class Americans breathing room. The upper middle-class Americans. As they prepare to resume federal student loan payments in January of 2023. So they've officially put a pause on all of the student loan payments and for some reason are going to be able to spend $300 billion, which the power they do not have, like we've talked about earlier, on student loan debt. The forgiving the debt or canceling the debt or I should stop say forgiving and canceling. I should say forcing taxpayers to pay the debt. $20,000 of taxpayer money will go if you have a Pell Grant, $10,000 if you do not receive Pell Grants. Forgiveness applies to those only earning less than $125,000 a year. So if you have $10,000 of student loan debt and make $100,000 a year, the Biden administration is going to give other people's tax dollars to you. Again, this is the least progressive thing that progressives have ever pushed for. The people who claim to be the Robin Hoods, we are advocates for the poor and lower class American citizens, are taking lower class American citizens' tax dollars and giving them to people who have a higher education and who make more money because they complained about it more. Ben Shapiro tweeted something too, kind of interesting and funny. He said, Ben Shapiro said, I have a controversial idea about paying off student loan debt. This is going to be rough, so I hope you can handle this. Don't take out debt you likely won't be able to pay off, and don't ask others to pay off your debts. Wow, that is controversial and deep. Again, not to mention that the Biden administration does not have the ability to do that. Canceling student debt. I also wonder too, where does it stop? I have more debt on the properties that I own than I ever did in college. It's crippling, don't you know? It's crippling debt, my mortgages. Maybe they should cancel those too. There's several people that I know that have tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, which is irresponsible, and I don't recommend anybody doing it. But at the same time, I would imagine that the government canceling those debts would be probably more helpful to them than canceling $10,000 of somebody who makes $120,000 a year's student loan debt. Are we going to cancel that? Objectively speaking, you need a car to get to work. And if you don't have a car, you can't work. Would we cancel auto loans by any chance? Is there any way to do that? Because again, I think that would probably benefit the people that have them canceled more than the, architect who's making $120,000 a year, who has $10,000 of student loan debt that they could pay in cash this year. Probably be more beneficial. Let's see if we can get to the comments. There's a couple other stories that I have that I was going to get to, but I feel like none of this, this all pales in comparison to the student loan debt buffoonery that's befalling this country. Let me see if there's anything on Twitter that's interesting. Let's see. Anna says, taxpayers are getting screwed financially and all Americans are screwed with all this crap that they're doing. Yep. Gail says, it's my tax money. They can all go to hell. Yeah. John says this is organized crime. I don't know if I disagree with that, John. I had a stand-up video come out on Instagram yesterday talking about whether or not you trust the government over the Mexican drug cartels. That was dumb. Sorry, I'm trying to read and talk at the same time. Let's see. Yeah, that's crazy. It's official. It's officially announced. Also, we're like, I don't know, 50 reactions away from our daily goal here. If you haven't already, it would really appreciate you just clicking the little reaction button. Obviously, this is probably going to make you extremely upset. If this makes you angry, go ahead and click the little, especially on Facebook, little reaction button. Don't click the dislike button if you're watching on YouTube, Twitter. I don't know, maybe retweet this. Would really appreciate you doing that. It helps us out to continue doing this each and every day. There's some people saying that they're not going to pay taxes if this is going to happen. Lori, you have an interesting thing that I've been saying this. I want my mortgage canceled. I've been paying it long enough. I should get mortgage debt relief. I agree with you, Lori. So Anyways, hey, we hit our little reaction goal. Appreciate all of you who stayed on watching this. We'll get to that gift card and store credit story tomorrow. Yeah, see where it goes from there. Ooh, this is actually kind of interesting. Sherry says, I owe $3,100 on my loan and will pay it. I hate to say this, I don't know if that's the smart decision, Sherry. Maybe you should just wait and see if it gets paid off. It's the right thing. You are doing the right thing as an American and as a citizen of this country, but it may not be the smart thing. I don't know. You're a better American. You know what? I don't know if I want to talk about this. I was also curious too this entire time. Yesterday, this morning, I told my wife, hey, maybe we should start taking out student loans just to show them how ridiculous this is. If I'm going to have to pay this back, I don't know, maybe both my wife and I should enroll in the college close to us, take out student loans, and then disenroll. And I don't know, maybe we just have $20,000 that'll eventually get forgiven by the Biden administration that I'm going to pay for in my taxes. Maybe I just have that $20,000 of cash and, I don't know, get a new walkway on one of our houses, and maybe we'll do that. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. That's going to do it for us today. Appreciate all of you sticking around, tuning in. Those of you who watch each and every morning, really appreciate you doing so. We're going to start streaming more. Not necessarily, just kind of this show is set up. We have clips and all that sort of stuff. We have done Jobob Unlimited episodes, which is on my Facebook page. If you haven't already, go follow me on Facebook, social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Just type in Jobob. You'll be able to find me. The running joke here is that the Chiron for Facebook is still wrong. But you know, that you'll still be able to find me. Just type in Jobob. We're going to start streaming some Jobob Unlimited episodes, and then also some what's called the Unimportant podcast, which is entirely not political, but anything unimportant to your everyday life, kind of a rest on the politics stuff. We'll start streaming that pretty soon here. A buddy of mine used to do that show, a couple of years ago. So we're bringing that back, and among several other things. But as for this show today, we will see you tomorrow. Anything else happens, we'll do the credit cards or the store credit and gift card story tomorrow, as well as a couple other things that I thought were interesting. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's a rough day, but what's happening is happening, and we'll just have to vote the people that are trying to steal more of our money out of office, hopefully. I have a difficult time signing off here because of all of these comments that I really enjoyed reading. Yeah. Anyways, all right, that's going to do it for us today. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then. God bless America.